Stop everything right now because what we're about to show you about Britney Spears is going to absolutely shock you and change everything you thought you knew about her story. These photos prove things that barely anyone talks about, and you absolutely must watch until the very end because the final images are the most powerful and important ones. Trust me, this is going to hit different than anything you've seen before. Everyone knows who Britney Spears is. She's one of the most famous people on the planet, someone who's been in the public eye since she was a child. Most people think they know her story, they've seen the headlines, the performances, the public struggles. But these photos reveal the real truth behind all of that, the human being underneath the celebrity, and honestly, it's heartbreaking, inspiring, and completely different from what the media has shown us all these years. Let's start with the childhood photos that show just how young Britney was when this all started. There are images of her as a little girl performing, auditioning, and working in the entertainment industry before she even hit her teenage years. Looking at these pictures now with everything we know, you see a talented child who was pushed into an adult world way too early. She's smiling in these photos, clearly gifted and capable, but she's also just a kid who should have been playing and being carefree. These early images are actually heartbreaking when you realize her childhood was essentially taken from her and turned into work and performance. Here's where these photos get really revealing. The pictures from Britney's initial rise to fame show a teenager who was marketed and presented in very specific, sometimes uncomfortable ways. There are images from this period that, looking back now, feel inappropriate given how young she was. These photos prove that the industry and media sexualized a teenage girl and nobody protected her from that. The contrast between her age in these pictures and how she was being presented is striking and honestly disturbing when you really look at it. The performance photos throughout her career show Britney's incredible talent and work ethic. There are images of her doing complex choreography, singing live, putting on massive productions, and entertaining millions of people. These pictures prove that beneath all the controversy and headlines is someone with genuine talent who worked incredibly hard. She's drenched in sweat in many of these performance photos, showing the physical demands she put on herself night after night. These images document someone who was a consummate professional and dedicated performer despite everything else happening in her life. Now let's talk about the photos from her most difficult periods. There are images from when she was clearly struggling, going through public breakdowns, and dealing with overwhelming pressure and scrutiny. These photos are hard to look at because they show someone in genuine distress, and instead of getting help and privacy, she was photographed and mocked. Looking at these pictures now, you don't see someone who was crazy or out of control. You see someone who was overwhelmed, exhausted, and desperately needed help and compassion rather than judgment and constant camera flashes. All of these photos together tell the story of someone who was talented, exploited, controlled, and is now fighting for freedom and autonomy. Britney's story, told through these images, is about survival, resilience, and reclaiming yourself after years of being controlled by others. If these photos opened your eyes to Britney's real story, please hit that like button right now. Subscribe to our channel because we're committed to showing truth and supporting people who've been misunderstood or mistreated. Comment below with your thoughts and support for Britney. Share this video because her story matters and needs to be told truthfully. Thanks for watching, and stand with people who are fighting for their freedom.